Do you consider yourself favored by God? Hi, I'm Mike Henry, Sr. with Follower of One. Thanks for joining me again today on the Follower of One podcast. We've been talking through chapters of Proverbs, but only taking one verse from each chapter for the devotional and just talking about that. We're using this as a series of steps to help us move one notch closer to Jesus. That's our goal and our mission in Follower of One, is helping others move one notch closer to Jesus. Today we're in Proverbs chapter 8, and our verse is Proverbs 8:35, but it could have been almost any verse in this chapter. Proverbs 8:35 from the New American Standard says, "For one who finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord." There are 36 verses in Proverbs chapter 8, so this is the next to last one. Me is wisdom. Wisdom is personified in this chapter and in other passages in Proverbs. But it's important that we are aware of the wisdom and the power of wisdom. God gave us wisdom. And there's so much that you can learn about wisdom by just reading this chapter over and over and over again. One way that you can draw nearer to God is to take Proverbs chapter 8 and just read 5 verses of it a day for 6 or 7 days. Ask God to transform the way that you think, because the wisdom that's talked about in this proverb, that wisdom is from the Lord. It's this knowledge that we get that's supernatural simply because we trust Jesus and we have the Holy Spirit living in us. This wisdom is ours, and we can choose to act according to this wisdom every day, and it moves us closer to Jesus. We can choose to ignore this wisdom every day, and it's like putting bricks in a wall that separates us from God. After a while, it's too much trouble to tear down the wall. We just live separated. I don't want to live separated from God, and I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. My goal in this podcast is to challenge us to do what we can to move one notch closer to Jesus every single day. So why not ask God to show you a little something about wisdom today? Because when we find God's wisdom, we find life, and that life is good and it lasts forever. You can read more about that in this chapter. Choose today to listen to God, to look for Him in the circumstances and the interactions that you have with people, to listen for what He challenges you to do, because He may give you a silly idea like leaving a huge tip or giving a special word of thanks to someone. Let's be specific today, but let's look for opportunities to do one thing at a time that moves us one notch closer to Jesus. That's our job as His followers, is to get into that groove, growing closer to Christ so that other people might see Him. Thank you for being a Marketplace minister. Thank you for considering how your faith can make a difference. Remember, what you do because you follow Jesus matters forever. Thanks very much.